Hello and welcome to FixNDrive. Today I'm going to show you how to upgrade your interior for less than $25. Make the interior go from looking like this to looking like this. So let's get started. Material I'll be using is vinyl wrap made by R Vinyl. You can pick this up on Amazon. I'll have it in the link below. Some tools you'll need is dash removal kit. You also need a T20 Torx bit, a T30 Torx bit, a universal screwdriver handle, a socket wrench. You also need isopropyl alcohol with a microfiber towel, and you will need a spreader tool to get the bubbles out of the vinyl wrap. And you will also need an X-Acto knife kit. First thing we'll need to remove is the center console. So if we lift up the armrest and I'll remove this tray, we'll pinch up on the sides and pull up and then work your way around. You can also open the cup holder and pull up from the edges there, then just gently work your way around to release the console. Then we'll slide the plate out. There's 3 plugs you have to remove in the back: your radio, your controllers, and your drive mode. Okay, we have that removed. To remove the plastic piece in the dash, you'll first need to remove the trim around the AC duct. Once that's removed, we'll need to remove the glove box. To remove the glove box, we'll need to remove this little trim piece that's attached to the console. Next, there's 3 T20 Torx bolts that we'll need to remove. You may need to loosen the bolts with a socket wrench, but I'll be using a screwdriver to loosen these screws. Now I'll use a dash pry tool to remove the trim piece underneath the glove box. And now we're going to remove the 2 T30 Torx bolts. Okay, now we'll need to remove the light inside of the glove box. On the right side, pry down on the light, pull it out, then pinch the little tab to release the light from the plug. There are 3 T20 bolts that we'll need to remove in the dash. Using the hole where the light was, gently pull down and towards the back of the car and work your way around the glove box to unsnap it from the dash. There are 2 T20 Torx screws that we'll need to remove to be able to pull the plastic piece out of the dashboard. Using a plastic pry tool, gently pry the plastic trim piece away from the dashboard. Very careful not to snap the plastic. At the center portion, we'll need to remove the center bezel that holds the controllers. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws we'll need to remove. With a T20 torque screw, we'll remove the 5 screws. With the infotainment controller removed, we can now pop out the bezel. So we'll just gently work our way around, pushing out the center portion. First, I'm going to remove the bezel around the gear shift. And then we'll remove the bezel that holds the drive mode and the volume button. Now with the bezel removed, we can wrap the center portion. Unroll the vinyl wrap to match the size of the bezel that we'll be covering. Find the right size, cut the length that you'll need. Make sure to leave a little bit extra to wrap around the edges. Now we'll take some isopropyl alcohol and we'll clean up the center portion really good. We'll make sure that we move all the grease and dirt off of this. And we'll also want to do the edges and the inner part so that we can wrap the vinyl around and it will adhere to the other side. We'll also want to clean the trim piece for the dashboard. Make sure we get the edges and behind it also. Now we're going to peel the backing off the vinyl wrap for the center piece. Then we'll stick the center piece onto the adhesive part. And we're going to flip it around. And we're just going to kind of work our way around to smooth out all the lumps and bubbles out of the center wrap. Just kind of run it with your fingers out to the edges to get all the air out. We'll just work our way around. You can also use a smoothing tool to help smooth this out, get the wrinkles and bubbles out. And we just work our way around, pushing everything out to the edges. And then I'll gently stretch the vinyl around the side pieces where it hangs down. I'll smooth it out and work the bubbles and the wrinkles out there too. Okay, now in the middle, I'm just going to cut a hole. Don't go all the way to the edge, but leave a little space to wrap the vinyl around. And I'm just going to make an X pattern across the hole in the middle. Make sure you have a sharp blade. When it's kind of dull, it'll fight you a little bit cutting this part. Okay, now I'm going to cut off the excess. And make sure you leave about 1/8 to 1/4 inch extra vinyl to wrap around the edges. Now I'm going to start folding the vinyl wrap over the edge to the back part so that it holds down really well. Just kind of work my way around and then cut off the excess at the bottom where the clips connect to the dashboard or center console. And this part, you want to be careful not to push it too much because it could cut the vinyl. But I'm going to cut a little diagonal strip there and wrap it around one end. And then kind of gently work my way around this curve to get the wrap to stick behind the center piece and make that shape. I want to cut where this corner meets right here so that we can fold the vinyl under and make that shape of the curve. Then I just work my way across, gently stretching and pulling underneath the center piece and smoothing it out as I go. I'll cut a diagonal slice around this other curve and gently work the wrap around this curve. Now I'm going to cut off the excess piece on the other side. Then I'm going to fold the wrap around until it's nice and smooth and sticks to the other side. And you just kind of work your way around the clips that connect to the center console. And then I'm just going to cut little slits on each side of the clip so that the vinyl will lay down better on the flat surface. And we'll remove more excess. this corner off. Then we'll gently wrap the vinyl around to make this hard edge. And now I'm going to remove the excess from the inner circle of the bezel. So just work the blade slowly across, leaving about 1/8 to 1/4 inch of extra vinyl to wrap around the inside to stick to the back part. Like I said before, you want to make sure you have a sharp blade because a dull one makes it pretty difficult to cut, as I realized doing this project. Then we're just going to work our way around, stretching the vinyl wrap around the edge of the inner part. Make sure that it sticks really good to the back. And taking your fingernail or dull part, just making a line to divide the vinyl wrap from the aluminum accent on this center piece. Makes it easier to make a cut line so that we can remove the excess part from the aluminum accent. This one I have to cut underneath, and then we just gently peel it away. Tucking some of the excess underneath. And we just work it our way around. The inner part doesn't have to be perfect because it will be covered, but you do want it to adhere as good as possible so that it doesn't bunch up on you later. Now I'm just kind of smoothing out any extra bubbles or wrinkles. Get some of the extra wrinkles out from the edges. Just smoothing it with my thumb. Right, and that's the centerpiece wrapped. So now I'm just going to add the inner bezel back. Just line it up and gently snap it back in. You don't want to scratch up the vinyl or push it back any. Just gently click everything back in. Now we'll install the infotainment controller back on. So we'll just slide it back in place and then screw the 5 T20 Torx screws back in. And last we'll install the shifter bezel. Just gently snap it back in. Okay, here's the centerpiece wrapped. Pretty happy how it turned out. Okay, so now we're going to wrap the dash trim piece. Roll out my vinyl wrap, then line it up so it fits. And I'm going to cut, leaving about 1/4 inch of extra vinyl on each side. Just give me a little bit of room to wrap it around. Install it correctly. So I'm going to peel off the backing. As I peel it off, I'm going to line up the trim piece so that it's center on the vinyl. Okay, now I'm just going to gently with my thumb work my way through and push all the air pockets to the outer part. You can smooth it down with a smoothing piece. And you may need to pull the vinyl away a little bit just to get a straighter fit without wrinkles. Just pull a little bit away and then smooth it back down. That'll help it lay on nice and smooth. Now work my way to the other side. Pull it away and just kind of smoothly get it to stick to the trim piece. Make sure I work all the air bubbles out. Okay. Then I kind of push down the edges to give it a nice clean edge. Now that we have it on the front plate, I'm going to wrap it around to the back. So I just start smoothing it along the edges. Have a little flat piece on the bottom that you want to lay it down on to help it look smooth. Just going to work the bubbles out. Okay, now that we got that laid down, make another hard edge with my thumb. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the top part. Kind of gently start pushing it back and smoothing it out with your thumb. Now I'm just going to work my way around, wrapping around to the back part of the trim piece. And you want to be careful on that point because you don't want it to tear through the vinyl. So just gently work your way around it. Then I'll start folding the bottom part to the back of the plate. And then I'll start cutting it around the connectors to the dashboard, making the vinyl fit around those connector pieces. Then I'll make some slits to the corners so that I can fold the edge piece on smoothly. I'm going to cut off the excess. Then I'll cut off the excess for the other edge. Okay, so now we're going to wrap the cup holder cover. So with some isopropyl alcohol and a microfiber towel, we will clean off the surface, get all the grease and dirt from the cover. While you have everything removed, it's not a bad time to go ahead and just remove all the spills and sticky stuff that gets between the cup holder and the trim piece and the console. Okay, so we're going to take a piece of vinyl wrap that's larger than the size of the cover, and we'll just work its way in and just start pressing it down into the cover. Just kind of work all the air bubbles to the back. Like I said, you want it to be wider than the cover, and then you can take a smoothing tool and just work your way around to get all the wrinkles and bubbles out. You want to work the vinyl into that gap between the console and the cup holder cover. That way we have a clear space of how wide we need to cut this vinyl piece. Taking the smoothing tool or your fingernail, try to make a hard line with that top plastic part of the console, just so you know where to cut. Make sure you have a sharp cutting tool, and then trace along the top of the plastic where the console is, and not along the cover of the cup holder. Just tracing along that top plastic piece. Just work your way around. Just take your time so you don't rip the vinyl. Once you have it cut, you just peel off the excess. Then take the smoothing tool and tuck the rest of the vinyl between the crack and the cover. And this will give it a flush look so that you don't see the stock part of the cover. Okay, and now you want to cut along where the cover meets the aluminum accent piece. So just take your time and cut along the crease that separates the two parts. Then peel off the excess. Then with your fingernail or something thin, smooth, just tuck in the vinyl between the gap from the cover to the aluminum trim piece. And then open and close the cover a few times just to get it used to opening and closing without the resistance from the vinyl. After you do that a few times, it should close nice and smooth. Okay, so now we're going to reinstall the center console piece. First, we'll need to plug in the 3 plugs. Move the armrest out of the way, and then pop up the plastic console. Okay, so first we're going to plug in the volume, and then we'll plug in the infotainment controller. And last, we'll plug in the dynamic drive mode. Once you have all 3 clicked in, you'll take the centerpiece and then slide it in between where the parking brake switch is. But be very gentle sliding this in so you don't bunch up the vinyl trying to get this slid in. So just take your time and gently slide it into place. And once you have it there, just push down and work your way around, clipping the center console back into the floorboard. Just kind of tap your way around, push it back in. You'll be good to go. Okay, so removing the trim piece from the dash, a couple of these clips got bent pulling it out, so I'm just pushing them back in so that I'll be able to add this part back in. So you'll just kind of slide it back in until you feel them click in. Just gently work your way across. Okay, so now we got to secure the trim piece using 2 T20 Torx screws. So we'll screw it back in there, and then we'll screw the other one back in. And next we got to plug the switch back into the glove box. And then run the light through the hole, or the connector for the light through the hole, and slide the glove box back into the cavity. Once you close it, you can tap it back in. You'll feel it click back into place. Now with a T30 Torx, we're going to add the 2 large bolts back to the glove box. You can hand tighten them back down. Tighten down the other one. tap the trim piece under the glove box back in place. It just clicks in. Then you can peel some of the weather stripping back, cover the plastic. Now we'll take a T20 Torx, and then we'll add the 3 screws back from underneath the glove box. Then we'll open the glove box, and then we'll add next we'll add the light back to the glove box. So we'll just slide the connector in until it clicks. And you just slide it back up into the hole, hook it in, and then just push up. Okay, now we have the 3 T20 Torx screws inside the glove box. And we'll tighten those down. And last, we'll need to install the trim piece around the air vent. So we'll line it up with the dash and just gently click it back into place. So I have one more thing I wanted to add to just really make this new look stand out. Just a little bit of an accent to the dashboard trim piece. And now it looks like an Italian car on the inside. Okay, I was able to make the interior go from looking like this to looking like this. This was a cheap modification I feel just adds a lot more personality to the interior of the car. I was really happy with how it turned out. So with less than $25 of vinyl wrap, you're able to really transform the looks of the interior of your Alfa Romeo Giulia or Stelvio. And we're good to go. So that's how I was able to change the look of the interior of my Alfa Romeo Giulia for less than $25 using vinyl wrap. I was really happy with how it turned out. It was a little bit of work, but I think it was worth it in the end. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment. I'd love to read it. Thank you, stay safe, and God bless.